Hi everyone, this is Hamda from IGA. Today we have a guest lecturer with us, Arash Sammander. He's going to give us a guest lecture on negotiation for creatives. Thank you so much for taking the time out and being here with us, Arash. I'll let
Sure.
you take this over.
Great. Well, thank you for having me. I know that it's we've been trying to get this arranged for maybe 6 months or longer, so I'm happy that we were finally able to get our I guess ducks in a row. I don't know what the right thing would be, but anyway, yes, welcome. As Hamna said, to today's kind of, I don't want to call it just a lecture. It would be good that we are able to interact, but it's more like a open dialogue slash lecture, and it's negotiating for creatives. And I'm seeing all of us as creatives. So I'm hoping that the way that I have created these slides is to try to be kind of flexible, so you can see that negotiating isn't just, how can I say, only for business. So let me go ahead and try to share my, oops, sorry, I'm going to be old now. Turn my camera off.
You're fine,
One
it's
moment.
tech difficulties. As long as he
Yeah,
still hear
yeah.
you.
Turn on camera and share. There we go. Sharing. And I'm going to share my screen and boom, 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 boom. Go live. Okay. Okay. So you would see me that way. Okay. I'm just going to leave it this way. It's fine. Is it okay that I leave the screen in the way that it is, where I have the slides on the left? Is that okay with
Yeah, it's
you?
totally chill. I'm just
Okay.
going to
Cool.
click watch stream and maximize it for the
Okay.
recording.
Okay. It just helps because then on my other monitor I can have like all of your beautiful faces or names or color boxes here, so I can just look and talk at the same time. But anyway, so negotiating for creatives. Please, again, as I said, if you have questions, you're more than welcome. I think Hamna's already wrote it in the chat. You can write in the chat, or you can just, we're here in an open kind of room. Just ask your question. I might not see things, so feel free to, if you're confused about something or you'd like to give some input. I will also be asking from all of you to kind of hopefully force a dialogue. So anyway, let's quickly get started. So do you guys see this screen now? The next slide? Okay, great. So anyway, so who am I? I'm Arash Sammander. I'm a designer by profession. I'm also a teacher and lecturer and an entrepreneur. I have a master's in game design and production in new media, and I also have some other degrees as well. I've worked as a professional designer for over 10 years. I also have, oh my gosh, 13 plus years background in IT as well. I've worked in the private sector for different online companies, as well as in the Finnish games industry. I where I'm currently talking from, I'm in Helsinki right now, Helsinki, Finland, and I also do consultation right now for various companies. I teach art and game design and regular design, as you could say, in various universities and art schools, and also I do private consultation for companies for business and design and branding, visual identity, these types of things. I also have a company called Rock Hubs with my girlfriend, and basically we create, uh, you could say, rock bands. So imagine there was a band made up of different people of different ages. And there's a system that was developed here in Finland to allow people to play music without having to know how to read sheet music. And It's mostly geared towards older people, but we have intergenerational bands, so people of different ages. And the whole point of it is like a social good company. We are trying to change people's perceptions of aging and what it means to, have different identities. When you get older, you might lose your identity, and we're kind of helping you create new identity and also change people's perceptions of aging. So, anyway, that's my background. So what does that have to do with negotiating? Well, I some master negotiator? Did I work for the FBI? No, of course not. But when you work in this industry, in various industries, especially as an entrepreneur, you're going to have to learn how to negotiate. So, really quickly, none of these ideas are mine. I have not come up with them on my own. I've learned them over time from reading, interacting, trial and error, failing, negotiating, and negotiations, succeeding in them. So I'm just sharing some of the things that I've learned over the years. And I, at the end, have a few kind of books I can recommend to you, or sites that involve not just negotiating but business. So the things that you're going to be learning from me today are not completely my own. So, how have I used negotiating myself? Of course, I've used it with writing contracts, getting funding, increasing my salary, asking for a raise, so on, asking for more money, um, finding employment, things like that. Of course, teaching in the university, I have students, and negotiating with those students and trying to make sure they're, meeting the deadlines, various courses, creating new courses with the university. I have to negotiate them as well. Of course, using negotiating in my own personal relationships, that also is the case. So when you get started with negotiating, the very first thing that I recommend for you and I ask of you is that you need to get out of your comfort zone. That's always the case when you're getting into anything new. So if you want to be successful, you have to kind of do things that make you feel uncomfortable. I always tell my students that if if you don't feel uncomfortable in what you're doing, you're probably not pushing yourself hard enough. So in this case, I'm assuming not everybody here is some master negotiator, else you probably should be here in place of me. So I recommend that as you kind of try to apply some of these things that you're learning here today, do understand that that it's going to be awkward at first, and you should kind of embrace that awkwardness. And you just need to practice. And you practice every day in your regular conversations, and until these things come naturally to you. Try not to stress out. I recommend using them in low stakes conversations in the beginning. So don't go and try to get, investor funding or VC funding or angel funding for your company and try the technique for the very first time. You'll want to practice that first before moving forward. Okay, so let's move forward. So as you might have noticed when I said how do I use negotiating, basically life is full of negotiating. It's basically in our daily routine, and we're probably negotiating, I mean, a lot, maybe like you're probably in 3 to 7 negotiations every single day, sometimes not even with other people, but maybe even negotiating internally with yourself on, should I do this or should I not do this? But what is it? What is negotiation? And this is where I involve other people that are here. So please, let's now quickly talk about what you think negotiation is. It's a fancy word, but what is it when we get down to it? Now I'll be quiet. Anyone feel free to chime in. I normally don't move forward unless someone speaks. So we'll be here all day then.
It would probably be cheating if I spoke right.
No, you can speak. There's no cheating. No, you're
I feel
free
like
to speak yourself.
negotiation is just a transaction, but like
Okay, it's
in my view, a transaction with words.
sure.
Um, like a barter kind of feeling every time I'm not good at negotiating, but every time I think of it, that's the only thing that comes to mind. What can you barter me for this gold coin I have? Do you have silver coin or do you have a bronze coin?
I see. Yeah. Yeah, that can happen. I mean, like bartering does exist within negotiation. That's very true. Any other views? Again, don't worry about, there are no wrong answers. It's good to just say what you say. I'm not going to make fun of you. Don't worry, am I going to be wrong? Any other opinions what negotiating is? Yeah, definitely, definitely. That's also very true. Both of you are very correct in different ways. I do like this that it's a transaction, but I do like this word kind of, you're both working towards something and collaborating, and I think that um, that's a very good way to look at what negotiating is. It what At the end of the day, negotiating is just
Oh,
trying to
one
get.
second.
Yes,
Vishnu posted in the
Vishnu.
chat and they said it's a process of discussing and reaching an agreement.
Oh wow, I didn't see that. Okay.
That's why I'm here.
It's
Don't worry
it's
about it.
coming slow. Okay.
I'll
It's a
keep bothering
process
you.
of. Yeah, no, it's good. Say it again. It's a process of.
Discussing and reaching an agreement.
Very true. Very true. That I
Wow.
like that. I like the discussing and I like the reaching an agreement. I think that's extremely good way to see it, that you're agreeing with something with someone. Um, and that's basically what literally what I had on the next slide of, you're trying to get someone to agree with you or share what you want. If you're doing that, you're basically negotiating. You're trying to get someone, at the end of the day, in the simplest form, is you're trying to get someone to say yes to what you want them to say yes to. And of course, they're trying to do the same to you. That's what a negotiation is. Um, Unfortunately, what a lot of the times people think negotiation is that it's like this zero sum game. It's like, in negotiation there has to be a winner and a loser, and the winner takes everything and the loser loses, and that's just how it is. And of course, maybe in bartering, that as you mentioned earlier, maybe that can be the case. Um, or maybe what you see on TV or in movies, you see it that way. But of course, that's on TV, and that's just to get you excited and interested in the movie. But in reality, if you're doing a negotiation, it's actually what you mentioned earlier. Is it Salim? Salim? I think Salem. Okay, sorry. So what Salem had said about this kind of working through together with someone, this is like a collaboration. So a really good way to look at a negotiation. Instead of two people, as we see in this previous slide, you might think, like from the movies, it's like two people facing each other, fighting over trying to do something, and someone's going to win and someone's going to lose. But in reality, it should be more like you're both side by side looking at a problem and saying like, here's a problem. I wonder how we can handle this problem together, and we both benefit from solving this problem. That's what a successful, long-term kind of relationship you want to build with someone, though, when you're negotiating, right? And at the same time, what you're doing is you're showing those people by working together and kind of towards this problem, you're showing respect to them. But just because you respect someone, it doesn't mean that you have to agree with them. There's lots of people that I respect that I don't agree with things that they stand for, their beliefs, their values. But just I'm showing respect that I at least understand what those values are. Did I spell valuing wrong? That looks misspelled. VALUI. Well, maybe it is. Valuing their principles and boundaries, but I don't need to make your values my own just by showing you that respect, right? Another thing we need to remember is that negotiating is something that we do. It's a very human thing, and because it's a very human thing, even though I do sometimes feel like I negotiate with my dogs sometimes to get things done, but it's a very human thing, and because of that, we need to pay attention to things like our tone, which I will get to later. You need to pay attention to body language. I won't be discussing all of those because of the limited time, but I'm sure there's a lot of other material out there. And there's a lot of things that naturally we already know. We kind of have this sixth sense or this gut feeling that comes out. That not comes out that we have that something is different, something's off. And there's these little cues that people have that give off that we're like, oh wait, something seems off, right? And negotiating well, you're paying attention to those cues. The other thing is empathy. It's really important. You would think, there's some really hardcore, maybe like business type CEOs, like mercilessly negotiating for $1 billion or euros wherever you are, and they're ruthless and they don't really care. But in reality, even if you are that type of person, being able to kind of see things from another person's perspective also will and showing compassion, offering sympathy, you can still do that. But even if you don't, you can still take that to your advantage, because if you're able to see something from another person's perspective, it's also going to benefit you, right? It's also about exploring possibilities. So as I had mentioned earlier, you might think that you just make your case and present your arguments, and that's the most important thing. Like, this is what I want. It has to be this way, and you have to give me X, Y, and Z, whatever. You have to give us $1 million because we need to get this done, and so on and so forth. But in reality, it's more about exploring those both sides, as you mentioned earlier, about a situation and the different possibilities, so that both people can actually benefit from what the results of this negotiation are. So it's really interesting. I have the chat here too. Oh, here we go. We have some other. Okay, sorry. I have it down here, but it was never updating. So basically what we're talking about is a thing called tactical empathy. And tactical empathy was coined by Chris Voss. I don't know, has anyone heard of Chris Voss before? Or has anyone heard of the book? Sorry, I'm opening up a Coke here. I promise it's not beer here. Has anybody heard of the book Never Split the Difference?
No.
Okay, I definitely recommend that book. It's at the very last slide as well. But the majority of the kind of learning that you're getting from me today is from Chris Voss's kind of teachings. And Chris Voss he's a former lead FBI hostage negotiator. And
Evan Pons said, yep, they have read it. So you have one person in this chat that has read it. Look at that.
Great. What did they think of the book? It's an excellent book. And a lot of the learnings and things that I'm or things I'm sharing today are based on what he teaches. So, but anyway, but he has his own group now called the Black Swan Group. I won't be talking about the Black Swan, but if you read that book, he talks about what a black swan is. It's a long story about the kind of history behind the black swan, and people thought they didn't exist, and then in reality they did, and he related it to negotiating, which is like finding some black swan in a negotiation, which will turn the entire negotiation around in your favor. But anyway, so he's coined this term called tactical empathy, and basically what it is that if you understand the core motivations behind someone's what they're negotiating with you over, you can influence their decisions into, of course, getting what you want. So, I've had some students say, like, are we just manipulating people? Are we tricking them? Not really, but also yes. So it depends what you consider manipulation, and but it doesn't mean that it needs to be bad or evil. It's just, again, trying to get someone to say yes and agree to what you want from them. So the very first thing we're going to be talking about is mirroring. It's super, super simple. That's why I like to start with it. So what is mirroring? Mirroring is basically a technique that you can use that has the effect that it has is that it makes the person, it kind of says, tell me more and continue what you're saying. I need more information. So, and the way that mirroring works is that you basically repeat a few key words from the sentence that someone says. So let's give an example. So why? Well, actually, let's say why you want to do it. So, it shows that you're listening to them. Active listening. I will mention what active listening is later, but if you don't know what active listening is, it actually means you are actively listening to what someone is saying. A lot of us have this tendency, or at least I used to have it, where I would not really listen to what the other person is saying and just kind of prepare my response. And unfortunately, when I'm doing that, I'm missing out all of the important things that person is saying, where we might actually be agreeing on something, but I've just not been paying attention at all. I've been living in my own world waiting to respond. So active listening means I'm not trying to prepare all my responses. I'm actually really trying to understand what it is this other person's saying. And the benefit of mirroring is that it's going to give me some time to think on how I'm going to respond to this person. And what it does is that it'll reveal deeper thoughts that they might have that I might not know if I don't mirror. And then it also allows them to clarify things that maybe I've misunderstood. So an example how to do a mirror is when someone finishes talking, what you do is you repeat either like the last few words that they might say, or like a key phrase in what they've said. So one, you echo those words back or phrases, and then you pause. You shut the hell up and you don't talk. It's very easy for us to run all over and step over our mirrors. So you have to really work at not talking after you use a mirror. You have to embrace that silence. You have to show genuine interest in what this person is saying and let them think on what you just said. And then you have to be inquisitive. Inquisitive means you're curious. What is it that they're talking about? You have to try to be as genuine as you can and curious about what it is that they're saying. And as if you're asking a question, right? So let's give an example here. I created a few examples. So here we have a marketing example. So someone will say, I think we need to improve our marketing strategy to reach a wider audience. And then the employee would mirror, reach a wider audience. And then they would just not speak. And then the manager would be like, yeah, we're missing out on the younger demographic. We need to explore platforms they use more frequently. So that's what the mirror is. They basically took reach a wider audience and repeated reach a wider audience. Another one, maybe more useful, is a relationship example, which I'm sure many of you have heard. I think we need to spend more quality time together without distractions. And then I might say quality time, or I might say without distractions. What are distractions? What do you mean by distractions? But I'm just saying distractions. For example, I could mirror distractions. And then I would shut the hell up and then wait. And then the person would say, yeah, like going on a walk, having a meal, not while not having our phones around, right? So all I've said was quality time, and then I'm quiet and I wait for that person to actually tell me more on what they were saying, what they actually meant by quality time, what they actually meant by what is distracting. Is it phones? Is it TVs? Can we hang out, and watch TV at the same time? Is that quality time? So people have different definitions. So by using the mirror and letting them speak, we're able to find out what that really means. A lot of my students early on, when they learn this technique, they make the mistake that they overuse it. So when you do this, you don't want to just every single sentence repeat the last word that they say. They're going to be like, what the hell are you doing? The person's going to be like, you're repeating everything I say. What are you, a child? So you have to be very sincere with it, and you don't want it to come across as inauthentic, right? So there's keywords. You don't have to use the exact same phrasing. For example, here, quality time. What do you mean by distractions? You can even say that. So don't use it all constantly. Just use it every once in a while, here and there, right? It's kind of like maybe like salt. You sprinkle it here and there, but if you use it too much, it's going to spoil the food. Someone has just asked, what's the best way to practice mirroring naturally without making it seem forced? Is there any other thing to keep in mind other than overusing it? What's the best way to practice mirroring naturally without making it seem forced? Is there any other way, any other thing to keep in mind other than overusing it? I think the key is, one way to practice, if you go to any events where there's a lot of people and you move around, for example, we have the IGDA meetings, the International Game Developers Association here in Finland. You might have it there, or if you have any meetings or groups like that and you meet up with people, you can just walk around. And normally what I do is I talk with I'm in a group and I talk, and then we get tired of talking to each other, and then we move to another group. So mingling maybe would be the word. So when you're mingling with other people, you literally could turn that whole night into a mirror practice. What you do, get in a group, listen, wait for someone to say something interesting. It's like, yeah, we were up all night, and we swam in the ice water, and you're like, ice water? And then shut up and let them. It's like, yeah, it was freezing and we had to cut a hole in the ice, and then we jumped in naked and whatever, and it was insane. And that's literally like a mirror. So you would just treat it naturally there, and then you would move on to someone else. So you don't have to stick with the same person and just continuously mirror them. That's what I would recommend. So if you go around in groups, of course, if you want to just practice on your own, you could just, for example, watch TV and hear what someone's saying in a TV show, and then think about what you would mirror to someone. So the key is to show that you're paying attention to what someone says, and you're trying to get more information out of them by rephrasing the word that they say. Hopefully that kind of answers that question. We can talk about it more later. And there's other techniques you'll learn in a moment which will uh, kind of help support that. Maybe I can do a quick little example. Not yet. What I'll do is I'll talk about the next thing, and then I'll just use them together, and you can see how simple this is. So the next thing is called labeling. So basically what labeling is that it's naming someone's emotion. You're paying attention to what you see. Again, you don't have to be some trained, what would it be called? The people that study like body language and facial expressions and micro expressions and whatever. You don't have to work like in the PSA or airports and see like, oh, who's up to something. You naturally will see. It's pretty common, universally. You'll see when someone is mad or angry or sad or something feels off, right? We kind of have this intuition. And then what you're doing is that you're just naming what you think you see, and it's okay to be wrong. So how does a label work? So the key things that I want you to pay attention to, the number one thing is it's it. You're going to want to use the word it. You don't want to use the word you. You, immediately people will get defensive. They will feel like blame. It's very easy in relationships. If you've been or are in a relationship and you say, you seem angry or you're making me mad or whatever, say those and be ready for the anger to increase. But instead, if you say it, now we're no longer talking about that person. We're separating what their emotion is. Yeah, exactly. Someone just said you sound accusatory. Exactly what it is. So now what we're doing is we're separating that and moving it over. And we're both, again, like I said, we're both looking at the thing. We're looking at this person's emotion together. And then what you do is use things like it seems like, it sounds like, it feels like, it looks like, and then say what the emotion is, right? What you see. So the benefit of a label is, and I'll talk about again once more. I have another slide on how it's used, and I will of course share these slides at the end. So you'll have access to it. So, but if you want to take notes, cool. But if not, don't worry. I will somehow get this to you. So, what's the benefit? Of course, it builds a stronger relationship with the person because they feel seen, right? You're paying attention to their emotions and what's going on with them. It also makes them a lot easier to influence. But influence them not in a manipulative way, but in a very natural and genuine way, right? And then another really great benefit is that you can, if you label a positive emotion, it's going to amplify that emotion, which is really great. So if someone's kind or showing something that you like, when you say it, there's a higher chance that they'll continue more of that because, again, they feel noticed. And then if there's an agreement with some about something, it also gives you a moment to think before you respond. So let me the calming, I can give an example maybe in a moment. But well, I can even say here, calming might be, let's say that I come home and or you come home and your significant other or your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever spouse is there and they're not talking to you and they're just looking down or whatever. What you could do before you've come to this lecture, you would say, what's wrong? Or what's wrong with you, which is even worse to say. Or you could say, you seem angry, you seem tired, you seem upset, you seem XYZ. Whatever you are sensing, pick that. It's okay to be wrong, but what you do is you shut up afterwards. Don't talk. So here's how you do it. Successfully labeling. Pay attention. What am I seeing? Something in their eyes, you can sense they're scared or worried or concerned. Something in the tone of their voice, it's shaking. It doesn't have to be bad. You can say, hey, you seem happy. You seem excited, right? And then what you do is you label it. You seem happy, you seem excited, you seem angry, you seem down, you seem upset, and then you follow it. You follow it with what that emotion is that you've just noticed. So here we have an example, even though I've given one so far. So where at work, every time I propose an idea, it gets shot down. I'm never taken seriously here. The other person, it seems like you're feeling overwhelmed and underappreciated, right? Relationship, the partner's like, you never ask about my day. It's like my feelings don't matter. It sounds like you're feeling frustrated and undervalued. So you see someone's upset, you label it. If you're wrong, what you're going to do after you label, you be quiet. Don't step, just like you don't step over your mirror, don't step over your label. You can stack labels, I'll mention that in a sec, but basically, if you're wrong, the person will say no and then correct you. So if I say, you look upset, seems like you're upset. Yeah, sorry, I said you look upset. I'm defaulting back to my old way. Yes, it seems like you're upset. And then I'm quiet and I wait. And then the person would say, no, I'm just really tired. I had a long day. Okay, cool. So now I know that I didn't do anything wrong, so I'm safe. But you get the idea, right? But you should be sincere about the label. You don't want it to sound fake either. Like, you seem happy, and the person's definitely like, oh, you seem happy. Well, again, I'm using you. Sorry. It seems like you're happy, but the person actually isn't happy. And again, I keep messing this up myself. As you see, it's very hard to remember these things, and even I make the mistake. I normally, when I sense that situation, usually I don't. The way I've been able to prevent myself is I immediately don't answer, and I try to think for a moment before I speak. And usually I can default back to this safe thing that's not getting me in trouble, right? But the key is that you're using the word it. It seems like you're feeling X instead of I think you're feeling this way. Now I'm going to assume. And then we're giving them the time to speak. And then what you can do is you can stack your labels. But you should be really careful with it. If there's something really deep, you see something's going on, you can say, seems like you're really tired, seems like you're really frustrated, seems like you're upset about something. You can stack them, but don't, of course, overdo it. You should, they should kind of be, the label should be related with each other, right? So, mirrors, you can use now mirrors and labels together. So mirrors help you recognize and clarify these different contradictions that people have in their thoughts. And it encourages them to basically share more with you, right? So after you label, if you mirror the key phrases that they can say, that leads to something deeper. So earlier I mentioned that seems like you're angry. And then the person's like, no, I'm just really tired. Oh, you're really tired? Now I've mirrored, and then I just shut up and I'm quiet. So, oh, here we go. I've been stepping all over my own slides. Look at this here. So, your partner comes home looking upset, and they say, I'm so tired of how things are handled at the office. What do you say? You label. It sounds like you're frustrated with how things are managed. Partner, yeah, it feels like no one listens to my ideas. You, no one's listening to you. No one's listening. Mirror, Notice that I just don't say listens to your ideas like a robot. You can change things slightly. You have to kind of respond the gist of it, right? Exactly. I've been suggesting improvement for weeks. It's like I'm invisible. It seems like you're feeling ignored and unappreciated for the effort you're putting in. Now we're refining that label. Yes, it's making me wonder if my work even matters. And then what? It's making you question if your work matters. If your work matters, you could say, yeah, I'm starting to think about looking for a new job. So what are we doing? We're combining the labels and the mirrors together, and it encourages you to open up, for them to open up. It brings you closer together. It lets them share their thoughts in a deeper way, right? So, and it makes you seem at least more supportive towards their feelings and what's going on with them. So this is genuinely, if you use it well, it's bringing you together. It's not just about, oh, I'm going to manipulate this person. So basically we can combine the mirrors and labels, and you get to know someone. So let's quickly just do that. How much time do I have left? Am I like okay with time, or?
You have like, yeah, you have time. It's like 12:51. You could take another half an hour and then we could do QA or any discussion or something.
Okay, then what I will do is I will move forward because I've
Sure.
given enough examples, because I still have a lot to talk about and I want to leave
Mm.
some room for the end. But I just quickly give you an example, right? Let's do um one example. So Hamna, I'll just practice with you super quick,
Oh
and
no!
yeah,
All right, let's
it's
do this.
super fast. We're not negotiating. I'm
Okay.
just getting to know you. So tell me something, and I will what I'll do is I will cheat ever so slightly. I wasn't planning it this way, so I'm gonna just do this right now. New
Mm.
slide, and I'm gonna do tone. I'm gonna do label. One moment. I think this will be kind of cool because we'll be able to see when I'm doing it.
I'm
Label.
horrible at my tone. Quite literally,
No, no,
people
no. We're
can't
not
tell
doing tone.
sometimes.
We're not doing
Oof.
tone right now. Don't worry.
Okay.
We're doing a label and a mirror. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just point. Uh, if you guys can see my mouse, I'll like spin it
Yeah.
around when I'm doing the one thing. I'll try to pay attention myself while I'm talking. So Hamna, tell me something that you're passionate about.
I'm passionate about. Okay. I'm passionate about finding decaf teas that are also healthy and have least amount of chemicals in them.
Okay, least amount of chemicals. What's that
Mm.
about?
Well, essentially just like no preservatives. Um, it comes either in like a pure leaf form or if it's mushed in a tea bag. It's still somewhat not a powder that I'm just mixing. It's not like an instant thing.
It seems like you care about what's inside of the things that you put in your body. I guess you consume, right?
Yeah, 1000%. And I'm freaked out by how you're actually like distinguishing how what mirroring and what labeling is.
Oh, you're freaked out about that. Why is that?
Um, it's just interesting to see it because I feel like I've talked to people that admire and like my role models and stuff, and it's like I don't know how they do this. How do they make me feel so heard and give me solutions to problems that I've never thought of or that I was thinking of?
Okay, so it seems like you look up to people and that make you feel heard.
Yeah, I do. It's I feel like it's one of the best things that is like a great human interaction.
Okay. Do you do you see where I was going with this? I didn't really plan it this way, but I thought it was a good way to show, I don't
Very
know.
clear.
some subtitles to what we were talking about. I'll leave that slide there in case we need to use it later. I can bring it back and add some more things to what we learn. Right? Cool. So that was our mirrors and labels, and you can combine. And did you feel like I manipulated you in some way? No, it felt very natural, didn't it? Now, here's the interesting thing. What do you know about my love for teas and natural teas and if they have chemicals in them? Oh, I don't hear you. You're muted. You're
Sorry.
muted. There you go. No, it's okay.
Yeah. I said nothing because I never asked you. Like the conversation was being directed. I never stopped, thought, and was like, "Oh, what about? Do you like
So,
teas? Do you like da da da?"
sure. So you were the one that was speaking. So you were the one that was actually kind of in control of the conversation. But in reality, I was the one that was in control of guiding you. Do you see what I mean? So in that sense,
Scary.
there was a bit of manipulation happening. But did you feel
Yeah.
manipulated in any way?
No.
No. Yeah. It's because I wasn't trying to do anything evil. I was just trying to get
Mm.
to know more about you. And I was using a mirror and a label to do that. So, really powerful, very simple. And once you understand it, you can get to know more about people, right? So, let's move on. It's really cool technique. And I use them very naturally. I don't even think about it these days. I just walk around and I get to know people this way. So, um, tone. Tone really is really important. So why does tone matter? It affects how the other person feels, right? And it reflects your true intentions. There are some people that I personally know that talk in very specific ways with a specific tone, and it's very easy for others to get defensive just because of their tone and how they speak. And it affects the kind of emotional state of other people. If you have a certain tone, like let's say very accusatory tone, or you're talking down to them constantly, what are you going to feel? You're going to be super defensive the entire time, right? Um, and it also, having a good tone, it builds rapport. You can build trust if you have the proper tone when you speak. You can kind of build trust between people, or the complete opposite. It can damage the relationship you have with someone, right? If you feel like you're always being accused of something, well, it's going to damage your relationship in the long run, right? So this is not the 1950s. I'm not a man telling women that they should smile more. But I can say for everyone, smiling does trigger a like positivity in people. So when you speak to someone for your own benefit, even if it's on the phone, if you're smiling, that also will kind of they're called mirror neurons that are triggered. There are these things called mirror neurons, and when you speak in a certain way, the other person will. It's not the same type of mirroring, but they will also mirror the same type of attitude. So if you are defensive, it's very likely that they too will also be defensive. So if you're smiling, there's a higher probability that it can they will also be more kind of open to dialogue with you. Yes, Salem is saying passive aggression comes to mind when we talk about tones damaging relationships. Definitely. This is very true. So there's different types of tones. Again, these are from, if you'd like to learn more about them, Chris Voss's book, Never Split the Difference, he talks about them. He talks about 4 different tones. I will just kind of say the 2 key ones you want to spend most of your time on are the first 2. The default one should be the accommodator's voice. It's basically the kind of how I've been speaking with everyone, speaking at you this entire time, or with you. Light, gentle, rapport building, everything's positive. I kind of soften messages that I'm delivering to you. This is what you hear now. 80% of the time when you're negotiating, you should be speaking in this way. And I've been smiling. I don't know if you can see it, see it under the beard, but I try to smile. The other 10 to 15% of the time is the late night FM DJ voice. So um, some of the people I have taught in the past, especially with kind of, how can I say, softer voices, you could say feminine voices, have said that how can you, when you think of an FM DJ, they always think men and very deep. But there are female DJs as well, or feminine voices. So the whole point of it is that it's cool and it's calm. So it's not gendered. It doesn't matter the sound of your voice. Of course, there are some people, they just suck at it, and there's nothing they can do. That's what they were born with. But the majority of people can calm their voice, calm people down, and with this de-escalating voice. So what do? So it's, you slow things down, you lower the pitch to the best of your ability, and then you try to be warm. So let's say that Hamna is really, she just said she's one of those people. Are you which one, the FM DJ? Which one are you?
I'm I'm the I'm the analyst's voice, but
Oh,
like
you're the
when
analyst's voice.
but when my tone changes to FM DJ, people feel more threatened.
Oh,
When
wow.
I'm
Okay.
calmer, people feel more threatened and think I'm being passive. But when I'm hyper, it's like she's fine. But when I'm calm, it's like, is she about to kill someone?
Yeah, maybe you have this assertive voice. Maybe that's it.
Oh God, I'm
But
gonna
the way the
hide.
FM DJ voice, the way you would use it, like let's say I did walk into the office. We're giving a good example. Let's say you and I, it looks like you're in an office somewhere, and then I came into the office, and or you came into my office. I'm sitting there, and you're upset. You're super angry, and you're like just attacking me, right? We could do role playing if you want, but I'll just say that. Let's say you're attacking me. First thing I'll do, I'll say, Amna, sounds like you're angry. It looks like you're upset about something. And then, of course, you might be like, of course I'm upset. You didn't get the XYZ done in time when I told you to get it done. Seems like you're upset over something that I've forgotten. I didn't get it done. And then I just wait. Now I've gone into mirror and labeling. I labeled what I thought. Looks like you're angry. Seems like you're upset about something. You said you didn't get the XYZ submitted in time. The XYZ, I don't know what we're talking about. The paper, the assignment, the assignment. So the way that it works, this is from a separate thing. It's not in that book. It's things that I've learned in the past in conflict resolution. I used to be this kind of trainer in conflict. We had to study conflict resolution anyway. It was in another thing. But one thing that I've learned there is that if someone is screaming, the best thing you can do is do the opposite. You have a limit to the kind of volume that your voice can achieve, but the opposite of it, like you can go down to like a whisper. So the more you scream, I will do the opposite. I will lower my voice. And it's the same with this. I'm going into my FM DJ voice. And if you're standing, I will sit down. I basically looking at what you're doing and I will do the opposite. And eventually things will cool down and you will come down because you can't keep going at that energy level forever. So, but this is what you want to do. Seems like you're upset about something. And then you might say, yeah, of course I'm upset about XYZ. Oh, XYZ. And then I will wait. And let you explain what it is. And as you're explaining, you're going to feel a bit better because I am listening to you. I am calm. I am repeating what you are saying, so you will feel heard. So this is what I would use in those type of situations to kind of cool the tensions. The other is this analyst voice. The analyst voice is for something non-negotiable. If you're working on a contract, if you won't budge, this is what it is. I don't know. You're selling your house and you need to sell it for 300,000. You're like, the price is 300,000. And that's it. That's just what it is, right? So you're very firm. It can come across as cold. That's why you rarely want to use it. Finally, there's the assertive voice. Unfortunately, I've worked for supervisors that are this way, and it just feels like they're constantly attacking you. They're constantly wanting to be right. They're constantly attacking. It's just... So this is what you want to stay away from. Hey, can you get this done? This is what I need from you. Okay, now let's go over here. And everyone is just like tired and demotivated. So you don't want to use this tone. Clear as mud. Let's move on. So we learned of these different techniques: mirroring, labeling. Now we want to be able to control. You can say manipulate, but how do you control a negotiation? First, what are you going to do? Actively listening. Active listening. You gather the person that's actually in control of a conversation is the person that's listening. That's why when we had that conversation earlier, I was actually the one in control because I'm listening. I have more power because I'm gathering information about you. Earlier we talked about teas, that you don't like chemicals in them or that they're powdered in a certain way, which means that you care about what goes into your body, right? And then the motivations behind those things. And then I respond in a thoughtful way. So I focus what's going on. I'm focusing on you. I'm letting you finish. In the very beginning, I slightly cut you off. Sorry. But I'm, of course, letting you finish. Okay, this is good. It validates you because you're listening most of the time. Yes. And then I'm reflecting back what you're saying. I'm responding. I'm using mirrors and labels. I'm asking clarifying questions. Oh, you like this? You like this type of teas. Oh, people that are you look up to. And then I might be quiet and you might tell me who you look up to and why. You said why you look up to them because you feel heard. I believe you said that. I'm trying to remember back to our conversation. And I'm not jumping to conclusions or solutions or anything like that. I'm being empathetic. Even if I don't agree with you. You don't know anything about my tea drinking or what I drink or who I look up to, or if I agree with you about tea or not agree with you about tea. But I controlled the conversation in the direction that it's going. I never, ever, you should remove this from your vocabulary until you get like super skilled. There are some techniques on why you could use why, but it's very dangerous. Using the word why, the reason that we probably don't use why is because probably when we were little kids, we did something stupid. We knocked something over, we broke something, we did something without thinking, and somebody got upset. A parent was upset at us, and they said, "Why did you break the vase? Why did you take this cookie from the cookie jar? Why did you step on your brother's head?" Whatever it is. I'm not saying I don't have a brother. I didn't do that. But anyway, you get the idea. So what you want to do is you want to replace the word why, which always comes across, why did you do that? If you're in a relationship and you use that word, get ready for the thunder. Get ready for the argument, because it's basically you've just opened up Pandora's box. Instead, you should use how and what. That's basically going to allow for you to collect something, allow you to be part of the situation, not blaming, and how for you to influence the conversation. So let's talk about that. Sorry, I'm running on, but these are really important because this is more the negotiating part and how to get someone to agree to you. right? So we have to talk about this. And this is called calibrated questions. So what are calibrated questions? Well, basically, you're going to use what and how to shift the focus towards solving the problem without giving up control. So an example here is if a friend asks you how to, like, hey, can you help me move? Happens all the time. And you probably might hate it. You're like, oh God, do I really have to help this? Do I have to do this? Whatever. Instead of saying yes or no or whatever, you can say, how can I help you that this fits into my schedule? So you're not getting out of it, but maybe you can limit the time. You can say like, hey, I got work. So you don't, instead of sounding like a jerk, what are you going to do? You're like, hey, I'm really busy that time. I have 2 hours. Right? So you can say, how can I help you that it fits within this 2 hour time frame that I have? And then the person might realize like, okay, hey, don't worry about it. I see you don't have the time, right? But you still have the control. So what does it do? You're the one that guides the conversation, right? It encourages them to give a deeper response to you. You're getting them to be part of, here I have it down here, they are basically involved in solving the problem. It's now saying like, hey, I have a limited time. How can I help that way? So what can we do so that I can help you still? But it's your problem to solve, not mine. Right? So, and then it allows for clarity. So here's an example, which is very common if you're in a kind of toxic work environment, which it can happen. Like, why haven't you finished your tasks yet? Right? And then you could say, what's making it hard to meet these deadlines? Or why don't you ever help with planning? Well, how can we divide the planning to make it easier for everybody? Right? Oops, sorry. Why are you so upset about this? What can we do to make it right? What can I do to make this right? Why are you upset? So I'm not using the word why back, I'm using what or how. How can we do this? Does that make sense? Let's give an example here. I'll quickly do another thing. Let's see. Salem, do you want to try now? You can be the next guinea pig. So, um, what's your favorite type of sushi? Okay, cool. Well, that's great. You know, there's a new sushi place that just opened up next door. Let's say we're in the same place. There's a new sushi place that just opened up next door. I also love California rolls. How about we go there and try out that new sushi place? How does that sound? Okay, great. So, negotiation is over, right? I got you to agree with me to go have sushi. I didn't now. Yeah, it's cool. But we this is the first time we've met, right? We've never met each other before. I know people that hate sushi. They will not eat raw anything. So I was taking a chance. Of course, very likely there's a high probability you probably like sushi. But did I ask you if you like sushi or not? Did, did I? Yeah, I didn't say do you like sushi, right? So basically, I wanted sushi. I didn't ask you if you liked sushi or not, but I got you to go to the sushi place, right? And how did I do that? I did it with calibrated questions. I basically said, "What type of sushi do you like?" You said California rolls. What did I do? I used another calibrated question, which was how. How about we go to this place that just opened up next door, and we try this new sushi. Negotiations over. I got the sushi. I got what I wanted. And you came with me, and we're still friends, and everybody's happy. Right? We both got sushi. Everybody's happy. So this is not. Do you feel manipulated? Did I take advantage of you? Okay, there you go.
I
So,
just can't
but
remember if you actually exactly asked Salem if they
let's
like
go.
sushi,
I
and my
promise.
brain is just broken now.
I
I
promise
can't.
you. I promise you. When you're recording this, right? So go back in
Yeah.
the video. When this is all published and done, go back in the video and check. And I promise you 100%, I never said if you like sushi. I never asked
I'm
Salem if she likes
dead.
sushi or not. I just said, how about we get some sushi? What type of sushi do you like? They said this. I said, how about we go here? That's it. So this is the power of a calibrated question. I'm I'm basically not giving you the option to say yes or no. Because if I said, hey, do you like sushi? And you said no, okay, guess I'm not having sushi today, right? But I didn't give you that option. I didn't allow you to say yes or no. Yes, go ahead. You were about to say something. It's really, yeah, of course, it's really weird. Hey, do you like sushi? Yeah, of course. Well, you see, it's just really weird. It's you don't know what's happening next. I'm leaving up in the air. Is this person? What is this person asking? Are they trying to hit on me? I don't like. I'm just want to go have some sushi, and I'm trying to not go alone. Maybe I don't like getting sushi by myself. Maybe I'm looking for an excuse to go. Maybe I'm trying to get you to pay for my sushi. I haven't told you any of these things yet. All I've done is we're going to get sushi now. So that's what a good calibrated question is. And it was super short. We negotiated, but you actually didn't have any say in the entire thing. So remember, a negotiation is getting someone to say yes, to agree to what you want. Okay, we're almost done. Do I have permission to proceed? I know we had a limited time.
Yeah, you could. It seems like you don't have that many slides left. It's only 117. You could go ahead.
Yeah, I have some bonus slides, but I'll only share those if you end up wanting to see them. So
Oh, it depends on the people. If they vote for
yeah,
it,
it
show
depends
it.
on the other people. So so
Yeah.
that I don't want to leave everyone without that. The bonus slides are super awesome, but it's cool. If I don't show them, no problem. I'll just keep those secrets with me. But otherwise, I do really want to make sure that you get to see this. So this is called the accusation audit. It's also I I personally don't call it the 8 Mile Rule, but there's another person, Chris Doe, who's one of the people I admire, has called it the 8 Mile Rule, and it's definitely the 8 Mile Rule. Another name for it, which I've used long time ago, I've used the accusation audit, and I never even knew that I was using it. I just did it one time. It was something I'm not going to share the super. It was really awkward situation, but I was in a situation and you could call it stealing someone's thunder is what it is. So let's give an example what it is. So what an accusation audit is that it turns someone else's weakness, turns your weakness into your strengths, and it's because what you're doing is you're thinking all the things that this person probably thinks about you, and you're saying it ahead of time. You're bringing it up front. So I have a video. I believe if I just okay, is it coming? Is it not working? Click, control click. Let me see here. Okay. So, so what's happening here? How many people have seen 8 Mile? I don't know if people are old enough to have seen this movie. It says 2 years ago, but it's not from 2 years ago. It's super old. Does anybody know this movie? It's with Eminem. He's a rapper. Amazing.
Forever ago. I don't remember anything about it.
Yes. So we'll watch this, and what I want you to do is pay attention. Basically, this is the final rap battle in the movie. I think his name is B Rabbit in there, but basically, he's been completely he's gone through this rap battle. He's worked his way up. This is the very end, and he's about to go into the final rap. They flipped the coin against the kind of bad guy, his opponent in the movie, and they've completely screwed him over. Like they've like this guy screwed his girlfriend literally. They beat him up, did all this stuff to him, and he's completely beaten now. And his best friend asks him in the movie, like, hey, are you scared they're gonna say all those things about you? He says that beforehand, and he's like, oh crap, they're going to say all those things about me. So that the whole point of a rap battle is to make fun of the other person and tear them down so that they can't respond to you. So basically, we're at the point now. They did a coin flip. The other guy gave it to him for him to go first, which he's at a disadvantage now because he doesn't know what the other guy's going to say. So I've jumped to that part of the movie. I totally recommend, it'll be in the slides, but I totally recommend you see this movie or at least watch this whole thing. I'm just doing it to save us time. So this is right when he's gone. Can you guys hear this?
I don't hear anything sound.
Can you hear it? No? Can I put the volume up? Yes? No?
Now I hear it. Yeah.
Okay. Should I make it louder or is that technical difficulties?
See, I know everything is not to say against me. I am a fucking bum. I do live in a trailer with my mom. But for a future isn't up in time. I do gotta jump in and try to Bible, shoot some stuff in the leg with his own gun. We get jumped by all six of you chunks. If we pick up my girl, I'm still standing here screaming the free word. I'm never trying to people. You don't know what the I do, but I know something about you. You went to Cranbrook. That's a private school. What's the matter, dog? You in Paris? This guy's a gangster. His real name's Clarence. I was with the home to both parents. And Clarence's parents had a real good marriage. He got a little battle. He shook. Ain't no such thing as athletic growth. He's scared to put me scared to look at his fucking yearbook. Cranbrook. I go like a pillar. I pop a dot, a clock, a trailer, everybody. All of you got me. I'm a piece of white trash. I say it proudly. This battle, I don't want to win. I'm outie. Here, tell these people something they don't know about me.
I think I can't hear anything anymore.
So, sorry. It seems like people couldn't hear it, but I will quickly explain basically what happened. I recommend that you watch that clip. What had happened was he started off the rap and literally explained all of the things that the other person was going to say. That he's white trash, he lives in a trailer park, they screwed his girlfriend, they beat the crap out of him. his friend's a moron, his friend had like shot himself in the foot, and so on and so forth. And he basically says all of the things that this other person was going to say. And then he revealed a few things about that other person as well to the crowd, like that he grew up in a private school. He's not as hardcore as everybody thinks that he is, because this other person is like, hey, I grew up in this place where all of you have grown up, but this person hasn't. He's just pretending. And then he gives him the mic and says, go ahead. I don't give a shit about any of this. I don't care if I win. Tell them something that they don't know about me now. So what did he do? And then the guy just, what is he going to say? What is he going to say? I did this and this and this. Well, he's already said all of those things. So he basically stole that person's thunder. So what does that have to do with this? With this, close this. Sorry. Open this again. How do you use this? It's called an accusation audit. So what is an accusation audit? If you're going into a negotiation, ahead of time, you want to basically make a list of all of the things that someone might think about you, and you address those immediately. You address those early and quickly. This isn't just for business. I'll give you some examples, right? I'll give you like how can I say, like a personal relationship example as well. But here's some, and then you can see from this slide later as well. But these are some common things that you might hear if you're, for example, selling something. You're overpriced. You might hear, why should I hire you? What guarantees can you make? Why should I trust you at all? You're too big. Like your team is too big. Your team is too small. You don't have enough experience. You have too much experience, right? We hear all of these things all the time. So what would you do? You would address this immediately. Like here, let's use this as an example so I don't address all of them. Like, you're too small or too big. You might feel our team is too small for your needs, but actually that allows us to provide more personalized hands-on approach, right? And then what would you do? You're going to a calibrated question. Why? Because you're going to control what's going on, right? You're not going to give them that. Like, now I would say, hey, smaller teams, we're more agile. Hey, you have my phone number because we're a small team. There's only a few of us. You have my direct phone number. You can call me at any time. I'm here to answer your question. If there's a problem, we can pivot very quickly. How can we assure that, you know, this size aligns with the expectations that you need? Well, we need a bigger team or whatever. Hey, no problem. We can expand this. We can outsource. We can work with other organizations. That's basically, but what I'm doing is I'm controlling the negotiation. I'm not giving up the control back to the other person. If I start trying to prove myself, if I start trying to justify, that's when I lose, right? And the same thing can happen in a personal relationship. If somebody's upset at me or something really bad, you cheated on this person, right? And you're trying to salvage this relationship. You would basically like, hey, you probably think I'm an asshole. You probably think I'm the worst person in the world, and that I don't care about our relationship, and that you can never trust me again. Right? So I would start off this way. And then I would say, I haven't planned this in advance. Sorry. So I'm literally pulling this out of the sky right now. I can think like, how can we make this relationship work? And then I shut the hell up and pray to whoever I'm praying to. Now, what have I done? That person probably hates me. They want me to go to hell. They want me to die. They want to break up. They don't want to stay together. And what have I said? All the things they think I'm a cheater. They probably can never trust me again. They probably think, hey, you probably think that I slept with everyone on the block. I'm probably, the second you leave the house, I'm calling all my other, side people and whatever, and that's all I'm doing. And, whatever. But this relationship's very important to me. How can we make this work? How can we rebuild trust? And then I shut up and I be quiet. And what have I done? I've said all the things you probably are thinking, and then they might continue more. Eventually, if I keep, this is stacking labels, or I'm stacking the things that, just like we stack labels, I'm continuing to stack the shitty things that you probably are thinking about me. And eventually the person might hopefully say like, hey, yeah, you're an asshole, but it's not that bad. And yeah, now I'm hopefully getting empathy from that person. And then the person's like, look, you hurt me really bad, but we can make this work, right? I'm coming across as genuine. So hopefully I get that. No guarantees. It's really bad, but at least I'm controlling some part of the discussion. I'm at least guiding it in a direction. So just like in any negotiation, you can't guarantee what's the outcome, but at least now we have this problem, we have this thing, we have a relationship, we're working together to solve the problem. Does that make sense? So really quick, some tips. You should be thorough as much as you can. You want to make sure the other person feels heard and understood. You want to adjust your tone when you're doing this. If the person's very close to you, you can be very direct. If this person you don't know, maybe you want to soften it a bit. Here's an example. You might always feel like I'm asking for your help and never giving back to you, but I really need your help right now with this thing. Can you help me? And then the person's like, yeah, this person always asks for help. But now I've said the thing that they're thinking. So they're like, yeah, they said that they're always asking, but I might as well help them, right? I'm actually even being nice here where I say, could you give me a hand? They could just say no. I could be a jerk about it and say, how much time do you have today to help me move this thing? So I'm not even giving them the option. So I'm being super nice here. So I could literally say like, this is the nice thing about having slides open, how much free time can you give me with this problem? Whatever that is. So I'm not even giving them the option to like get out of this. Where the hell is my quotes? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Does that make sense? Most important thing in a negotiation, you end in a positive note. Hey, this is really important. Let's say it's a really important negotiation. We're talking like, big budget negotiation. It's an angel investor. You're trying to get money out of them, to help you, to fund you with this thing. And it's still going back and forth. Normally they don't end in just the very first time. And you just got to keep going like, hey, I know we didn't solve the thing. We didn't come to an agreement. This is still up in the air, but it's really important. Our relationship's really important. I hope we can make this work somehow. And you end that way. And I promise you that little thing at the very end will allow you to continue that negotiation later versus it ends with like arguing. So even if you've been arguing, even if you've been fighting, even this personal relationship, let's say it doesn't work out. The person's like, I hate you. I want to have nothing to do with you, blah, blah, blah. You say, hey, it looks like you're still angry, but I really value our relationship. How about we continue this another day? It's a way to kind of calmly exit. Anyway, practicing. Hey, you got to do this. You got to keep practicing. Practice makes perfect. start with these low pressure situations. Don't break up with your significant other to practice negotiation, right? You want to do this, like I said, go out to some event and mirror and label and try to do one thing at a time. Don't even do the label, just do some mirrors. Oh, really? Oh, you're looking for a job. Wow. So practice these, then incorporate some other things, and slowly over time, it'll come naturally. And then you'll slowly be able to kind of get people to agree to the things that you want them, what you'll be able to manipulate them in a nice way. So that's what I have so far. I have some other stuff, but I don't know how long I've gone. I'm sure I've gone over my time, but if yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I can leave it up for questions. I can continue. Here's some recommended readings. Never Split the Difference. There's the channel The Future without an E. So it's The Future, but drop the E on YouTube. There's also a website. Chris Do is there. He is Emmy Award winning. I'll show you the slide. This is what he looks like. He's my superhero. He added me on LinkedIn finally as a first connection. So I'm like, notice me senpai. So I was finally noticed and have had conversations with him back and forth. So super exciting for me. And he also teaches different negotiating stuff, but he is like an Emmy Award winning designer, and he's kind of trying to teach 1 billion people to kind of follow their passion, do the things that they want to do, and make money at the same time. So definitely check out that channel. There's lots of design related things, but there's a lot of business and negotiating things. A lot of the things that I've used today, he also uses. So I am some of my students who've watched some of his videos say that it sounds like he's talking, like it sounds like me talking when they hear him. So I've borrowed a lot from him. There's another really great book by Blair Enns. He has a few of them. One is called The Win Without Pitching Manifesto. It's really great for business. Instead of trying to like convince people to, like, especially it's business related, but convince people to, let's make proposals and convince them to hire us to do things. This kind of changes that, and it brings everything more to having conversations with people. And that's how I do business now. I just have conversations with my clients, and most of my big jobs where I ask for a lot of money, they've all come through just word of mouth in conversations. I'm not actively going out and like pursuing jobs, and that's just because I've built my network over time using these different techniques. So, and being genuine, of course. I want to. The most important thing is helping. You want to help people. But yeah, I can answer some questions now if you have some questions, and if not, I can, of course, if I have more time, I can talk about other techniques. Or does anybody?
Someone in the chat did say, I do have a question. You could either unmute or just type in the chat, and Arash would be able to answer that.
How about you just talk? It would be nice to hear some voice. If
you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I probably just caught the tail end of your presentation, but I was very fascinated by this accusation audit. And I was wondering, is it like meant for preemptively at the start of some kind of negotiation? So I sit down at a table, let's say, with a publisher as a game dev, and like I start rattling off like, yeah, we're small, so you might think we're a small team, and like here's why we're agile and whatever. Or do I leave it like after they've listed concerns?
Yeah, really great question. Accusation audit is always up front. So let's use your example. You're going to sit down with the publisher. Most important thing is I'm assuming that you've done your homework on that publisher. If you haven't, this is now game development, game dev, game business advice I'm giving you now. So it's kind of separate from the negotiation, but it's something you should be doing. So who is this publisher? What games have they published? Or do you fit within their portfolio? These are extremely important things to know because they will also help you in your accusation audit. It's let's say, for example, your game doesn't fit. You need this now gets into the list. Hey, most of the games you've published are XYZ. You might think that we're a really small team. The type of game that we're making doesn't fit within your normal portfolio. Whatever else. So what you want to do is you want to kind of in advance, if it's by yourself, I don't know how big your team is, if you're just an indie dev, but you sit down, you go through all of the things that it's super easy to think about. What are you scared and nervous about? Because that's normally that's the thing that is going to give you the most problem. So if they're going to say your team is too small, this is the first game that you've ever published. You've never published a game. You don't have any experience. You don't have enough users. I don't know if it's really deep, like your day one users, you don't have enough of them. You need to have XYZ. Whatever that fears are, list all of them. List them down as many as possible in advance and make organize that list in order from the most important, the highest. You know that they're going to ask that. They're going to say, hey, your team is too small. And you can make a list. You can make the list, and then you with your team or by yourself say, how am I going to address this in advance? Like I just mentioned earlier, like, hey, you might think my team is too small, but the benefit of that is all of us are professionals, or you have direct access to us, or we can be very agile very quickly. And then let's say it's the opposite. Let's say that you might think our team is too big, and you might think our team is too big and we're not going to be reactive enough. But the way that we work, for example, if you know anything about Finnish gaming companies, the biggest one here, or probably one of the biggest in the world, is Supercell. That's a Finnish company. Clash of Clans and whatever the other big things are. Battle Royale.
Very familiar. I am from Finland.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't know that. I didn't know. Yeah. So, and the way Supercell actually works, I have a lot of friends there, is that Supercell are actually like supercells. They are little companies inside of the big company, and they're very agile. They're separate teams, almost acting like separate companies, and they're able to make their own decisions. So they're able to remain agile even though they're part of a bigger organization, right? So when you speak that way, you can say, like, here's your concern. You think we're too big, but in reality, we are actually small, or we are able to react in this way. So you say all of these things up front, and then you allow them to express their concerns, right? And then they'll say, yes, but we feel this way. What are you going to do now? If you weren't here for the earlier talk, you will then use mirrors and labels to get more information out of them. It seems like you're worried about something. Hey, we made this presentation. It seems like you're still concerned about something. It seems like you're not telling us. There's more than meets the eye. There's something off there. And then you're quiet and you yes, it seems like this. And then if you label incorrectly, they're going to say, no, it's not that they might say, no, I'm not worried about your team size. I'm worried about XYZ. And then they will reveal to you what they're actually worried about. And then you say, how can we actually solve that problem, right? A really good example to this is it's a technique that's called it's called the Hall of Mirrors. It's a mirror again. And the way the Hall of Mirrors works is that you kind of repeat back to them exactly what they're asking you with this kind of like how and what. I can quickly show. No, there's another one. There's actually another one. Hold on, let me show you really quick here. let me see here. Hall of Mirrors. So you basically, instead of answering, you're reflecting, right? So if somebody asks, how can you ensure? They might be like, how can you prove your team is capable? They might not believe that your team is actually capable of what they're asking. Well, instead of answering and saying, well, this and this, and now you're trying to prove, and we all have experience and we've been working for 30 years each and whatever, now you're just trying to prove yourself. That's just going to go over your head. And you don't know what question, you don't know deep down inside really what their fear is, because at the end of the day, especially with publishing or in any negotiation, the person has some type of doubt, and you need to find out what that doubt is so that you can address that doubt, right? But they need to give it up to you. They need to give you that. So what would you say if they say, how can you prove your team is capable? What proof would you need to see to believe in my team's capability? What kind of capabilities does the team need? So now they have to tell you, they have to solve the problem. They have to tell you what it is, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's kind of hopefully giving you some type of answer. I've kind of gone, in addition to the accusation audit, how you can solve the problem on what they would say afterwards.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, thank you. I have a little bit of a follow-up question. Hope that's okay.
If it's okay with them, it's fine by me, yeah. I don't know
Okay.
if I know the
Yeah,
answer.
good.
I'll try.
Yeah, it's just a quick one. So I'm like imagining the situation, sitting down with a publisher. I've never done it before, and so is there a way I could ensure that I can kind of go first? Do I just, say like, is it okay if I go first, or like to ensure that I can do my accusation audit?
Sure. I mean, there's no guarantees in life, right? So we have absolutely no idea what's going to be the situation. If you're going and sitting with any, not just the publisher, but the point is you want something that this other person has.
Mhm.
They have marketing power, money power, they have something you're trying to get that's going to help you. In this case, they have the reach and the network. I'm assuming that's what you're getting from them, right? I don't know. Are they giving you money as well?
Money.
Okay, so they're giving you money. So if I was a publisher, what are you going to use the money for?
Development funding.
Okay, so it's development funding. I won't go into the amount, but what you would need to do is you would go over here secretly in advance. You know who the publisher is, you know who you're approaching. I'm assuming you know how much you're going to ask for, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So what you don't want to do is like sit there and try to justify, like, we need this and we need this and we need this and we need this. If you're going to use the accusation audit, what you're going to do, you'll go into the meeting, they'll be like, hey, what's up? If they start in the way where they're already controlling the conversation and they're saying, we're not really sure if you're going to be able to do X, Y, and Z. Well, we already have this example that I just gave you. It's the Hall of Mirrors. Because now what they're trying to do is trying to get proof from you. So what you're going to do is they say, okay, hey, you're not sure of our team's capabilities. That might be the thing. You're not sure if your money is going to be used properly for development. Let's say that. I don't know what the fear is. It's better you tell me. Like, tell me what you're scared of. Maybe you tell me that. That might be more useful for you than me.
I would say like the biggest one is like the lack of experience and AB size, but lack of experience I think is the biggest one.
Okay. So a really good one, like you don't have enough experience. So let's see if you can come up with this answer instead of me telling you. I have lots of ideas and answers for lack of experience, but what do you think might be a thing that you would say that would take your so you would start off, hey, you're probably worried. They might say, hey, either they would come and say, we're worried you don't have enough experience to, well, that's exactly what this is here. How can you prove that your team is capable? We feel your team is not capable to do this, which is basically like, we feel like you don't have the experience to do this, right?
Mhm.
So what
Yeah.
would you say to them? This is, I'm showing you this because this is if you don't get to talk first. If you get to talk first, you're going to use accusation audit. You're going to say, you probably think my team is too small. We lack the experience needed to get this thing done. It's going to take more time at whatever these fears are. You've made the list, you've started. If not, and they sit down and they're talking first and they say, hey, we don't think you're going to be able to pull this off. You don't have the experience. So they've said the list first. Well, instead of you immediately answering, you're going to dodge it and you're going to tell them, what proof do you need to show that we are capable? What capabilities does my team need? Right? So
Yeah.
what experience do you need? I don't think you have enough. What was your name?
Alexi.
Alexi, I don't think you have enough experience to be able to pull this off. So what will you say now to me using this technique?
Well, I would probably. What do you think we? What do you think we need that we could, succeed in this project?
Yeah, what type of experience are you looking for? That's what you would say, right?
Yeah.
The other thing you can do, there's this other technique. The reason I'm bringing it up because I have the slide here. It's called the yin yang, and it's changing the perception of what the person is thinking. So the way that it works is normally if that person comes to you and is thinking that big teams are like small teams are bad. So what you're going to do is you're going to ask them, it's basically shifting their logic. It's trying to go and say like, hey, let's look at this from a different perspective. Are big teams always good? Let's say in your case, the person says your team is too small. Say, okay, hey, are big teams always good? Have you ever worked with a big team? I'm assuming you work with big teams because you're worried our team is too small, right? Have you ever had a situation where the other team size was a problem, that it was too big? What kind of problems have you had? Maybe instead of even saying have you, what are we going to do? We use calibrated questions. How, what? What type of problems have you had in the past with big teams? Now I'm not even letting them say yes or no. Have you had problems? I'm going to say, what kind of problems have you had with big teams? Do big teams always provide quality? Are they always successful? I'm sure all of us know in the past year or 2 years, big teams have not delivered. Like how many big games have now AAA games, quadruple A games that have completely failed? And they have teams that are like, what is Ubisoft now? 20,000 employees? That's a really damn big team. And they're not successful. They're suffering. I mean, I could name off on the top of my hand big teams that have failed, but I can count many, many, many more on. I need extra hands for small teams that have succeeded, indies that have been super, super successful. So coming to me with the you need a big team. Why do you need a big team? What makes it important that you need a big team?
Mhm.
Do you see
Okay.
what I've done?
Yeah. I see. You kind of challenge the premise that they have. Like they have a certain way of thinking about how big teams are. Like
Exactly.
it's a given that
Exactly.
they're good, but you're challenging that fact.
Yeah, and it's the exact opposite. If they're like your team is too big, well, that's the other. Well, hey, we're able to handle a lot more. We're able to spend more time on quality. We're able to delegate tasks more so that, well, you know, it's not just one person trying to do, like if we're just talking about 3D, for example, we don't have one person doing all of the modeling, all of the texturing, all of the rigging and enveloping, all of the animating. Instead, we have 5 people working on that, so we're able to deliver quality quicker. Now I've said the opposite of the benefit of a big team. Do you see what I mean? So it doesn't, neither one is right or wrong. I'm just changing the angle to fit the situation. But I'm letting them tell me first what it is, what is their fear. When someone comes to you with a problem, like if I have a client come to me with a problem, they have a fear and they're worried and they want someone to tell them, everything's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. I'm here to help you and I'm going to listen and then I'm going to try to help you through this problem. And it's the same thing with people with money. If someone has a lot of money and I'm an investor, I'm a VC, I don't want to give up that money. So I'm going to say, what if I'm going to a VC or angel investor? Hey, I know you're probably really worried because this is a really small team. This is the very first project that we've ever delivered. You probably think I'm going to lose all of my money. And it's a waste of time. And we don't have the experience compared to a really big team. But I can tell you, all of the people here are super passionate. We invest a lot of time and effort in what we do. We might not have the same experience that others do, but we make up for that with our passion, with our so on. We all live close to the office. We live in the office. We don't even have an office. Do you see what I mean? So what I'm doing is I'm taking their fears and then I'm saying it out loud, and then I'm telling them it's going to be okay. You can trust us. So that's basically the kind of the gist of it.
All right. Thank you. That
Sure.
was very enlightening.
Any other questions? Oh, sorry if we're out of time.
We are 4 minutes away. I do have a 2 p.m. hard set.
Okay.
Are you comfortable with people just sending you questions, or would you like me to just like redirect them to your LinkedIn? How would you like, if you are comfortable with answering questions?
Sure, you can, of course. I have so many social. It's really hilarious because I also teach like content creation and like all these other things, and I teach so many different things, but I really don't use, aside from using YouTube just to watch videos, I really try to stay off of social media for my own mental health. So if you want to get in touch with, and I didn't put email because if an email dies or whatever, but my LinkedIn is here, so you can message me. I don't have some special locked account, so you can just send a message to LinkedIn and I can answer there, or I'm all over social media and I will get notified. So if you find me somewhere, I don't know, like Twitter or Facebook or wherever that I exist, there's only one person, now I sound arrogant, there's only one Arash Sammander that I know of that exists. Everyone that has
You
my
don't
name,
sound arrogant. That's just a very unique name.
it's a very unique name, especially the last name. It was a first name taken as a last name. So if you look up that name, wherever you find it, if you send a message to whatever thing you're using and feel comfortable using, you can send an email there. You can also send an email to, I'll also write it here. This is my own company's email, and I'll also write my own personal email. You can spam it. I don't care. It's just, I have other ones too. I will write
just
all
a
of
heads
them.
up, like you mentioned you wanted to share the pitch deck. If you want to share the pitch deck, are you okay with this much information going out?
I don't care.
Okay.
Well,
just making sure.
Well, I mean, you have a video, so it's already out,
True.
right? Yeah, so
Never
it's
mind.
not like I don't own this information. Like this is just from classes I've
I meant
taken.
your personal information, like your emails and stuff.
Well, here it is. So It's now on video, so whatever. So I probably will just put my. I mean, you could send me whatever. Fortunately, I live in Finland. I do have to say, and we're pretty sheltered over here. So if you want to like swap me or something here, It's not gonna happen. We have apartment buildings with 30 different security doors, and the police have other things to do. So if people don't like me, it's probably gonna be kind of difficult to make my life miserable. Yeah, I don't really care. I have nothing to hide, and I'm not really worried about anything. But
Sorry,
message me. I maybe I don't this. I mean, I leave these here. It doesn't matter. You've seen them now. But I would say if you send an email to any of these, chances are I will probably see it very quickly. So I will respond. If you want to respond, these are probably the ones to send to the easiest. Yeah.
sounds good.
And then if you collect questions as well, just send them to me and I will respond, and you can send them back to the community as well. So
Sounds good.
Cool.
Arash, I think we're gonna have to wrap up here.
Sure.
This was super informative. I have 3 pages of notes. Thank you so much for taking the time out and all the back and forth and all the coordination. And thank you everyone who showed up. And thank you, Salem, for recording this with me. Hopefully one of our recordings is valid and it all works out. On that note, I will post the links to this and the YouTube link, the link to the slide deck later as well, and tag events and announcements in the announcements channel so you guys have access to it. And then this is going to be up on YouTube in a few days, and I'll let everyone know and notify about it as well. On that note, thank you so much for showing up, everyone. Oh, that's Apple. This was a
Great.
pleasure.
Thanks for having me. Yep. Good luck, everybody.